Chance to escape Murdoch'sembrace. 2009 attended the wedding of News International Chief Executive First. The ceremony took place by the leg at a country estate as stood next to be put in the Pierce Marble White Pole Deck. Day84 was a few years away. Permuta. Few yards away, Permuta was closer to the exit David Cameron. Hung back the slope, David Cameron, that Bebslop, Cooler Brown, then Prime Minister Rod Levy, the wife's tiny twin, as he walked down to the lake. At the reception, I had a brief conversation with Mr. Cameron. I said, I hoped he would not win the upcoming election, but that if we did and if we wanted to improve the political debate and stand out in the press, I would support him. The journalists in me had known that the relationship between politics and the media was not serving the public, but it was my first-hand experience. Of this cultural abuse and negativity that convinced me that British press and 24-hour news were making it more difficult for elected leader to govern. It's got worse, hasn't it? He said. I replied that he would be a much stronger prime minister were he to take office, not feeling he owed anything to the big media groups. At that point, Mr. Murdoch joined with us, and we changed the subject, but perhaps we should not have done so. That we did, however, illustrated something of the dishonesty at the heart of our essentially political and commercial relationship. It is not easy to do what that Miliband level leader did last week, make himself an enemy of some of the media's most powerful forces. He was right that given the media bias against him, he knew why we tried to level the playing field. In my own defense, and as my diary shows, argued for some years with Tony Blair that we need to act on the culture of our media. At one point, it ticked me off, asking that I not make views obvious in front of Mr. Murdoch, his son James, and last Hinton, then chief executive of News International. Ultimately, Mr. Blair thought the press had become a problem, but that given our other priority, people would now understand that our attacking them on. He also thought it would look like revenge for the fact they had turned against us. And there were political considerations too. Trying to govern and win election is hard enough without the press being against you. Except that for all of us, at times media support was something we created at the expense of position or principle on media issues. But that trap has now been sprung. The latest revelation had forced the police, News International, and the government to act. The police will now be more vigorous. News International will continue with their kamikaze crisis management, which one day will be studied as a textbook case of not to do it. But the most important development are the Prime Minister during inquiries into press practices and the new system of regulation. These mean we now have once in a generation opportunity for a new settlement between politics, the media, and the public. Nobody can argue that we have the press we deserve. Pressured by technological change, a dominant strain of British media has gone into a spiral of decline, in which this scandal is only the most dramatic development. Mr. Cameron did not look comfortable announcing the reviews. He has personal relationship at stake, and given he hired Andy Curson as his communications director, his judgment is true. Already the backlash from part of the press has begun as seek to maintain that anything but loose lips of regulation is an assault on the free press. But Mr. Cameron must stand back from all that and ask himself what is the right thing to do. He did some of it last Friday. The judicial inquiry should be far-reaching. The news of the war is far from alone the use of dubious and illegal practices, as wide and ignorant report from the Information Commission have shown. Parts of British media reminds me of the trade union before Mrs. Thatcher. They feel untouchable. As I say above, Labour could and should have done more to deal with the fear abyss. But just as the MP inspection scandal emerged from the failure of Mrs. Thatcher's government to tackle MP salaries, so the system by which showered honours on editors and owners, a practice to which we put an end with a rule that no serving editor could be honoured, means to have something to answer for. Whatever the past, it is Miss Cameron who must lead the country to a better place. Wisdom 11 has shown himself capable of playing a good and principled part, and so should the public. Ultimately, political debate will only improve if the public want it to. If they channel the anger at recent event into an assessment of what kind of paper they read, whether they really want to live on a diet of celebrity, trivia, negativity, and abuse, the corner phrase, we are all in this together.